Fear of death is at the root of all neurosis. And if you look at human behavior, you can boil everything down to the fear of death. I was, again, talking to this little shaman kid yesterday about environmentalism. And, in rabid environmentalism, political activism, and, we have to save the planet.
Yeah.
Is the fear of death at the root of that thinking as well? Are we afraid of the planet dying, which is really being afraid of ourselves dying? It really all comes down to the ego's fear of disappearance. I will disappear. Well, everything I know will disappear. That's a big fear.
That is a big fear, and you and I are talking about it a little bit before we started this interview. Perfect. And so we're talking about the new consciousness that conversation we had about that. Continue with that a little bit more and tell us about this idea that people have about this shift that's going on, and that somehow it's different than it has ever been in history.
A lot of what I teach is different than the New Age party line, if you will. And I do get a lot of criticism for that. But people are always walking around saying, oh, wow, we're in this shift of consciousness and we're coming to, consciousness is raising. We're coming to this new place because humanity is so messed up and the world is so messed up. And whenever people tell me about this shift, I have to say, if we were living in the Roman Empire or in the Middle Ages or in Africa during the slave trade or anywhere, we'd be saying exactly the same thing. We'd be saying, wow, life is so messed up. They're crucifying people. There's the Crusades, or everybody's dying in the streets from the plague. We're living in really terrible times, but there's new hope coming. There's going to be a shift. There's a new religious teacher preaching on the corner. There's a new way of thinking, or now we have books, or whatever it is. It's absolutely no different now than it ever was in human history. It's the same struggle. It's the ego suffering and having these experiences that create conflict and pain, which are absolutely necessary to kick us in the butt and move us to awareness.
Yeah.
That is how the system works, and that's always been happening, and there's absolutely nothing different going on today than there was in 700 BC or 1642 or any other time in history. And it's arrogant to think that we're so special, that we're living in a special time, and that we're so special that we can stop that from happening.
Yeah.
So there's a shift now. Yes, there is. The shift is the internet, in my opinion. Now we have this amazing tool that is helping us spread information. But there was a time in history when it was the printing press and people learning how to read.
Yeah.
Evolution happens all the time.